this week's Premier League programme was trimmed because of the mourning for the Queen Elizabeth II, and there was a shortage of police for 3 matches. They involved Manchester United, the big clubs as well, Chelsea and Liverpool. But 7 games went ahead. And as always in the Premier League, there were some very interesting things happening. And I'm joined now by John Giles and Liam Brady to discuss what did happen. And maybe start with the most remarkable thing I thought of the weekend. John, Son, the Tottenham Hotspur player, we all think he's a wonderful player in every respect, as well as being a terrific footballer. He's a gentleman and he never puts a foot wrong as a professional. Conte called him out, said he wasn't doing his stuff and dropped him. He came on and scored a hat-trick, a badly needed hat-trick in 13 minutes. He's a remarkable character and a really top player, isn't he?
You're top pro, Eamon.
Yeah.
You know, obviously a top player, a top pro. I mean, a lot of lads would have got the sulk after being left out, you know.
Yeah.
And given up, we want to transfer and that. And he went out and proved his point. You know, he's a brilliant player. He wasn't having the best of times since Conte left him out. But he wasn't childish about it. Got on with it and showed him what he could do. Scored 3 goals and 3 terrific goals as well within about half an hour or something.
In 13 minutes, John.
Oh, was it that long? Okay. Yeah. He was brilliant. I think we all love him. I think Liam love him, you love him, I love him. He's been a great pro. He's a terrific player, Eamon.
Yes.
So delighted to see him back. And Spurs needed it at that time in the match at the weekend.
They badly needed it.
Yeah.
Liam, Conte, no messing around. I suppose his point was that nobody is too big to be dropped. He hadn't scored a goal this season and he hadn't played brilliantly. But this was the perfect answer. And I noted on the touchline, Conte celebrating very happily with his 2 assistants. I think he was saying, I got it right.
Well, yeah, you can't argue with that. But he was top goal scorer in England last year, Eamon, in the Premier.
Yeah, he was. Joint top with Mo Salah. Yeah, golden boot. Yeah.
So he's as John said and you saying, he's a brilliant player. He's very quick. He showed, especially with his 2 goals, you know.
Yeah.
He can bend him right foot, left foot. He's a terrific player. But what Conte has now is real competition for places.
Yes.
I think a couple of weeks ago when we were last on, we spoke about Richarlison coming to the club, you know, and he's going to keep everybody on their toes, and that's what you need at a top club. If you go back to Ferguson in the heyday of Manchester United, when he had 4 strikers, Sheringham, Solskjaer, Dwight York.
Yes.
And I can't remember
Andy
the other
Cole.
one. There was Andy Cole. Thanks, Simon. Yeah, so there was four brilliant strikers there. So Tottenham want competition for places. That's what Conte wants. And he certainly has a good choice to pick a team from now.
Yeah, John, as you said there, Spurs are struggling. I thought they were awful. And I'm a huge admirer of Conte's, and I think he's done a really good job there, qualifying them for the Champions League, for example. And now they are actually joint top of the league, or just a point behind Arsenal now. But on Saturday night, they were joint top. They lost 2-0 to Sporting Lisbon, gave 2 late goals up in their Champions League game during the week. The players flew back. He had them in for training the next day. I didn't think they could pick a leg up. And Leicester, who are bottom of the league with 1 point, were more than a match from them and had scored 2 goals. It was 2-2 at half time.
Yeah, well, Leicester were good, Eamon. But I think, Conte is a great manager, as we know. But I don't think that's the cleverest of things, Eamon.
No.
Because the team don't play well to make them suffer. I mean, they've got a match coming up at the weekend, as you say, and they look tired in the match, particularly early on. So I don't think it's a clever move to say, right, you're back in training tomorrow. I think it's nonsense, to be quite honest, because the players are going to suffer for the next match. And that's where Son came into it in a big way.
Yeah.
That they won out good winners, and poor old Brendan Rodgers is in big trouble, as we know.
Yeah. Liam, that sort of idea, we know Conte's, a hard man, but bringing players in the next day, as a punishment. I thought they looked really tired and rather laboured. And it's the first time this season that I've seen a below par performance from Tottenham. They won 6-2 in the end, but I thought that scoreline flattered them big time.
It did. Well, I don't know whether I would agree that it was a form of punishment, Damon. You know, I don't know what went on. Did he bring them in and train them hard? I don't know. Sometimes the press will make things out. Maybe he brought them in and they had a massage and they got over the game the night before. But they didn't play well. In the first half, they were giving the ball away for fun. Yes. Particularly the back four. You know, they were trying to play out and they were giving it to Leicester, and Leicester were at them. Leicester had a right few chances. But Leicester, you know, Vardy's no longer a big part of Leicester. Doesn't look like it. They're missing him badly. They haven't really got a capable striker. And Schmeichel leaving the club, and the goalkeeper that's in at the moment, Danny Ward,
is hopeless.
Well, I'm not saying he's hopeless, but he's struggling at the moment. It's the first time he's really had a chance in the Premiership. He's kind of been a constant number 2 or number 3, and this is his first time to have a go. And he is struggling a bit, you know. So Leicester are struggling at set pieces. They're giving goals away all the time, and Spurs have the forward line to punish them. And you know, when that fourth goal went in, Song's fourth goal, Leicester had to come out and they just got hit on the break. So Brendan Rodgers is in trouble. I think we spoke about him a couple of weeks ago, Eamon.
Yeah.
I think he would like to get the push. Yeah. But as we talked 2 weeks ago, I don't think he's going to resign. But Leicester in real trouble, and to see West Ham down there as well is a complete turnaround from last year.
Yeah, John, you were saying to me, we were talking during that game on Saturday evening, that Leicester really are a selling club now. They've no interest in buying players. They let Kasper Schmeichel go, which was crazy. They brought no one in, really. They brought this fella who played at the back for them on Saturday, brought him in an hour before the transfer deadline. His name is Fass. They brought him in an hour before the transfer deadline closed. So, as Liam says, he's obviously doomed in terms of his reputation and maybe his job. But why would he walk when there's a few million there if they sack him?
Yeah, well, he's in a very, very bad spot, Eamon. You know, I read in the paper there, the owner said, you know, they're not going to be spending money. And they sold the centre-half, I think, was 70 million and bought somebody in for 15 million. You know, like, if you could do that, there'd be no such thing as a good team and a bad team. Yeah. And I feel sorry for him. I think he's a good lad and he's done a really good job there. But he's not getting the back end. And I think we talked about it last week, and Liam, and I think you said, well, he got paid up, and I was suggesting in a way, like, the best thing to do is resign now and go with his reputation and say, because I understand, if he stays and gets paid up.
Yeah, we should remember he won the cup, almost qualified for a Champions League place, but you can't do it if your best players are walking out of the club, and leaders as well, like Kasper Schmeichel, who was an exceptional professional. Liam, Arsenal are top of the league. I thought before the match that Brentford's intensity and the way they go at it might be a real problem for Arsenal, as it was for other big clubs, Manchester United notably, I think, on the first day of the season. But Arsenal seemed to cope quite comfortably, got the opening goal from a set piece, and Brentford really were tame.
Yeah, well, we got a different defence now, Eamon, with this guy Saliba in the middle of the defence. Yeah. You know, he looks very, very good. Not only is a great physical presence, this is his second goal from in the Premiership. He scored a lovely goal I think it was down at Bournemouth, and he's really made the defence much more solid. He's a big lad. He can play out from the back, and he's been a great addition to the squad. He was on loan in France. We didn't buy him this year. He was on loan, so it makes you wonder what took us so long to get him back in.
Right.
He's very, very good. And then I think even against Manchester United, I think John said they played really, really well going forward. Arsenal, they're creating things. They're playing with a lot of confidence. And they brought that into the match against Brentford, and they, the guy up front, Gabriel Jesus, who we got from Manchester City, is a real handful for every defence. He's playing in that central position and allowed to go where he wants. He's scoring a lot of goals for the team. So the additions to the squad this season have made all the difference compared to last year.
Yeah, and Tierney played on Saturday, but he's actually been out of favour. I think he's a really top player.
Well, we've got a good squad now, Eamon. Yeah, that's what you need. If you're gonna get in the top four, you need to have top players two players in every position, so one can fill in for another. So you got Tierney and Zinchenko at left back. You got this lad Vieira come in for Odegaard on Sunday yesterday, and he looked a really good player, scored a smashing goal. You've got Saka, Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Jesus. So the forward line looks all right. Got another Brazilian in called Marquinhos, who did very well in the Europa League during the week. So he seems. I just fear for us in central midfield. Although Xhaka had a really good game. Xhaka had a really good game on yesterday afternoon. And I'm not his biggest fan, but I have to hold my hands up and saying he's playing a lot better this year. Yeah,
and John, the age profile of the Arsenal team is really interesting. There's some very young players, and in fact, in the last minute of the game, the 90th minute, Arteta he made Premier League history by bringing on a young lad called Ethan Nwaneri, who's only 15. He only turned 15 in March, and he's the youngest player ever to play in the Premier League. But they do seem to have some good young players. And Jesus, who I didn't really fancy much at City, he's really done well for them since he's arrived.
Oh, yeah, he's doing very well, Eamon. I think the problem at City was they didn't play him at centre-forward, Eamon. That's what I thought there. I always thought he was a good player. But they didn't play him, so he was playing on the left or the right. Yeah. And like the header he got on yesterday was brilliant, absolutely brilliant header. It was a good ball from Xhaka. But he got a brilliant header on it. I think he'll score a lot of goals for us. And the look in the team now, as Liam says, once they tighten up at the back, like going forward, they've got really, really exciting players, and they're tightening up at the back. So they well deserved the win yesterday. I thought they were very, very impressive, Eamon.
Yeah, Liam, you had reservations naturally at the start of the season. A lot of new players, a lot of players that you wouldn't have been particularly familiar with. Thomas Partey is another interesting player. He came from Atletico Madrid. He didn't start. He wasn't on fire when he first came. I think he is a good player, but right round the pitch now, they have good players. Saka seems back and confident again. This lad Vieira, where did he come from?
He's a young Brazilian, Eamon. No, I beg your pardon. He's a young Portuguese lad. We got from, I think it might have been Sporting Lisbon. You know what the Portuguese are like. They sell all their good players.
Yeah.
I think he's only played like 22 league games in Portugal last year, but he did score 8 or 9 goals. So he's supposed to be one for the future, but he came in and did a really good job in Odegaard's place yesterday. So things are looking good for Arsenal. I'd still be worried about Partey and Xhaka in the centre of midfield.
Yes, yeah.
Like when the international break is over, we play Spurs on the 1st of October at the Emirates, and we play Liverpool on the 9th of October at the Emirates. So they'll be the real test,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
We failed against Manchester United, albeit playing well, but that there was a little bit of kind of deja vu that they looking good, and then when it comes to the big test, they don't see it through. And I thought they could have got something from the Manchester United game, but the defence let them down. Now, as I said, we've got Spurs and Liverpool the next 2 games, so that will tell us much, much more.
That'll be the acid test, all right. Although, fair play to Arteta, they're a point clear at top of the Premier League. I don't think they've had the hardest programme, and as Liam has pointed out there, the hard stuff is coming. Wolves had to face the hard stuff at home, John, on Saturday. It's a match, again, we both watched and talked during the game. City won 3-0. Jack Grealish got a goal in the first minute. It wasn't a particularly great goal, but he was there and he tucked it away. He's had some severe criticism, not least from me, and I think you have your own opinion on him. He cost 100 million, which inevitably attracts, well, people have expectations of a player who costs that much money. More money actually than Haaland cost by some tens of millions. What did you make of the game, John, and what did you make of City? Because I know you're not as enamoured of them as you once were.
Well, at times, Eamon, they've been good. And I thought they started off really, really well the other day. They were City at their best, especially when they didn't have the ball, chasing it down. And as we know, they scored in the first minute with Grealish scored in the first minute. And they played really, really well to go 2 up. And then in the start of the second half, Eamon, they slipped up again. You know, the Wolves got on top. They weren't chasing the ball down as well as they could. And then they got a break when Collins, our Irish lad, was a very, very silly tackle, was sent off. You know, put them down to put Wolves out of it for 10 men, and then they scored to make it 3-0, and it was all over. But the first 20 minutes, half hour, I thought were really, really good. City. Grealish scored the goal. I don't think he played particularly well after that either, again, Eamon, but he did score a goal, and Haaland came in again, scored his usual one goal, and Foden scored later on. So they well deserved to win, but I thought Wolves were a little bit unlucky. At the time when they were on top, they couldn't score, and then they lost the player, and it was really all over then.
And Nathan Collins, Liam, I thought there was no malice in the challenge, I didn't think. I didn't, honestly. I thought he was so desperate to get to the ball or to do something. And I don't think, I didn't see malice in it. The king of malice is on the other line, Liam, but you obviously did. I thought he was a bit unlucky.
Well, he was reckless, Eamon, wasn't he? You know, he should have pulled out of the tackle and not, like, he hit Grealish in the chest with his boot.
Yeah.
He had him over the top tackles, but that takes the biscuit. You know, he was reckless. He was maybe so keen to do well that he decided to steam in, but you can't do that anymore, you know?
No.
Because if you raise your boot that high and you catch your opponent, the referee, I think they're under instructions to send people off.
I wouldn't dispute the red card. It was just, I thought he tried to kind of pull out, and then he didn't know where he was. I want to ask. Sorry, John.
Can I just come in there?
Yeah.
I don't think he meant to kill the fella. It was just like an inexperienced lad that went for the ball that he should never have gone for. It was an out-and-out red card. But what I had to laugh at a little bit when Bruno Lage, the
Wolves coach,
the manager of it, he said it could have been a yellow or a red. And there was a fella, was it Naves on the pitch after the referee? Jeez, he never left the referee alone. And it was an out-and-out sending off, Eamon. You know, I don't think the lad did go to hurt him. No. Anyway, it was an inexperienced tackle and a silly tackle. But he had to be sent off for it, you know, definitely.
Well, on those matters, you'd be a better judge than either Liam or I about the malice thing. I want to ask both of you.
I don't like that. I don't like that. I know you're joking, but I don't like that. I wasn't noted for being a dirty player in that. I had to look after myself. That's what I did. But I never committed a tackle like that, a stupid tackle like that.
No, I know you didn't.
When I played football.
No, absolutely. And I'm sorry about that. I hope you'll accept my apologies. Are you giggling, Liam?
Shall I tell a story about John? Let me tell you a story about John.
Yes.
Now, John always said to me, and I believe him entirely, that he only looked after himself. And if there were fellas out to get him, he had to look after himself. But we played Bulgaria in Dublin in the World Cup qualifier.
Yep.
And Jimmy Holmes had his leg broken by this Bulgarian that was playing.
Yes.
And John said before the game, look, we want to play well, we want to win the game, but we want to get this guy. If we can get him, let's get him.
Right.
Who got him?
I'd say John.
John got him.
It was a terrible tackle. It ended Jimmy's
You remember
career.
that, John? You remember that, John?
Yeah, didn't he deserve it, though, the guy?
Oh, 190%. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm sorry anyway, John, if I in any way intimated.
No, it's okay, Eamon. I know it. I know you're only joking. I do know you're only joking. Well, maybe some of your listeners would actually believe it.
Well, they only have to listen to Liam, and then they'll understand it. Liam, I want to ask you about Erling Haaland. He is. I mean, he mishit the shot, the goal he scored, I thought, on Saturday. But I think he's absolutely awesome. What do you think?
Well, absolutely. Yeah, he didn't hit it clean, but he hit it well enough, Eamon.
Yeah.
And what he did do really well was get the angle to shoot in the corner by taking the Wolves defender on and pushing him. The Wolves defender was trying to jockey him back, but he moved the ball over on his right foot, which is not his strongest foot. And you know, he struck it right into the corner. It wasn't the cleanest of strikes, but it was enough to beat the goalkeeper. And I think he's linking up well now with him and Foden are linking up well. De Bruyne. I think there's a real shape to the forward line now, Eamon, now that they have an out-and-out centre forward.
Yes.
So I think, you know, we're all three of us are pretty sure he's going to go near the 30 goals, 30 league goals this year.
Maybe more, Liam. He's got.
Yeah, maybe more, but you know, he will be around there if he stays fit.
Yeah, John. He's awesome in so many ways. Pace, appetite, and timing of the runs. It's hard to pick a fault with him. He seems to be a good lad as well, you know?
Oh, yeah, he's a team player, Eamon. Yeah, he seems a really good lad. And he's remarkable in the balance and pace he has.
Yes.
Eamon, for such a big lad. I've never seen anybody with the pace and the balance at his. Well, he's about 6'5", isn't he, or something?
He is, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
6'9". And he's got the balance of a little fella.
Yeah.
And obviously he's got the anticipation that you need at that level to do what he's doing. But the physique is incredible. You know, big lad, quick, balanced, both feet. He can knock them in. So he definitely will. When he has a great record anyway, Eamon, scoring goals. So like if they produce it, City, and give him the chances, he'll take them. There's no doubt about that.
John, I didn't see the full match, but what I did see the highlights. He's linking up well with Foden and De Bruyne and players like that, isn't he?
I think when he gets the right players, we were talking about it last weekend. The match before City, they were terrible. They got out of jail at home, but they didn't have Foden and. Bernardo Silva came on in the second half of that particular match and changed the game for them. They're two really top players. When those two weren't playing, they were playing awful. They had Gundogan in the middle of the field, and I can't remember who the other person was playing. But they were poor. They need those players. Jack Grealish went off at half time in that match, and Gundogan went off. And they were a different Manchester City with Silva and Foden on the pitch. Without those two, if the other two are on, they're not so good, Liam, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, he's linking up well. He looks the all-round player, doesn't he?
Oh, complete.
Haaland.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's the real McCoy, you know. They definitely, he'll score goals, he'll make goals for him, but it's a goal scorer for maybe 40 goals this year that they didn't have last year, Liam.
Yeah.
That's the big thing for City, you know.
Yeah, let's hope he stays fit and healthy and nothing happens, because he's the most wonderful young player. I just want to ask you both about Everton, West Ham. John, Everton got a win, which was badly needed. West Ham got another defeat, which was not needed. They're in trouble. David Moyes has done such a great job there. Everton also, you would think, in trouble, but that win gets them up the table a little bit. And the player they bought from Brighton, Neil Maupay, who is a goal scorer, a regular goal scorer, he got the goal. I was pleased for Frank Lampard. They'll both have plenty of work to do, though, won't they, to get out of the holes they're in? Yeah,
I think Everton just about deserved it, Eamon, to win it. You know, they just about deserved it, but West Ham are going through a bad time, as we know. I mean, and Everton, he has a lot more work to do, Eamon, than we thought he would have when he went to the club.
Yeah.
I think he realises that himself, but it was a badly needed win for them and a dreadful result really for David Moyes. So the two of them have a lot of hard days ahead of them, Eamon.
Yeah. Liam, just to ask you about Seamus Coleman, who hasn't played in recent weeks. He's been on the bench. It looks like there's a young fella that Frank's playing right back. His name is Patterson. He looks a very, very good young player. So maybe for Seamus it's going to be difficult. But he's such a great pro and a good lad. Would you still feel that he's got a lot to offer for the Irish international team in terms of experience and as a player, of course?
Yeah, he's a leader, Eamon. Yeah,
Yes.
we need him. Yeah, we need him. We've got two important games coming up next week. Scotland away and Armenia at home. And, even though Seamus has not been in the Everton team, you would expect him to be in the Irish team. But this lad Patterson is a young lad. He's doing very, very well.
Yeah.
I think Cody has helped their defence. He's an organiser. He's a leader. To go back to Seamus, I'm sure he'll figure somewhere along the line. But, this happens to everyone. How old is he now? I mean, he must be
34, I think.
Is he? Well,
I think so.
Yeah, so he's got to that stage where perhaps he's not going to play week in, week out, but he's still going to be an important player for Ireland simply because we haven't got the squad of players that we once used to.
Yeah, and John, it's good to have a player like that. He's 33, actually. It's good to have a player like that in the dressing room, on the training ground, and he still would have service to give to Ireland and Everton if needed.
Oh, there's no doubt, Eamon. I mean, they made a good buy, as you say, with the right back from Scotland.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. I mean, that's what they have to do, obviously, get younger players in. But I think Seamus has an awful lot to offer.
Yes.
Now, I mean, he's a fit lad. He's 33. He's got the experience. I'd be amazed if he doesn't play a huge part in the Irish setup.
Right.
He's a great lad, as we know. He's a terrific player. And Everton have to do what they do, which is to get young players in. And he's unfortunate in that particular way, Seamus. But he'll definitely give great service to anybody if he does move from Everton, well, particularly, as you say, for the Irish team.
Now, just before we finish, Liam, a new man has turned up in the Premier League, an American. He's got a lot to say for himself. He's taken over Chelsea. He sacked Thomas Tuchel, and he wants to do things. And I think particularly he wants a European Super League. But he also probably wants to buy the players, and he may even want to pick the team. His name is Bowie. I don't like him. And I agree with somebody who wrote this week, and I wrote it myself last week. He's a dangerous man because he's bringing American ideas and values into the Premier League, which could kill it.
Well, I'm not up on it as much as you are, Eamon. But when he sacked Tuchel, it was a surprise to me.
Yeah,
I know Tuchel's behaviour and some of his outbursts have been caught the attention of everybody, particularly that spat he had with Conte on the touchline, and then he's been quite critical of the players in the media after bad results and things like that. So. It was a surprise, but not a complete surprise. Particularly after him winning the Champions League and an FA Cup, I think. So he obviously wants to change things, run it his own way. Potter, who we've all spoken about, the three of us have spoken about, was bound to get a big job. Now he's got a very, very big job on his hands. He's got a lot of star players. He's never really worked with that kind of player before, that quality of player before, big egos and so forth. So that's going to be a real fascinating thing to watch. On the guy Boldy, he shouldn't be involved in buying the players, but he is now. I've read somewhere that he's looking to recruit somebody in that director of football role to work with Potter. Yeah. But we all thought with Abramovich going, I think that Chelsea might suffer because of it, the upheaval, and it looks that way. I don't know what John thinks.
Yeah, John, this guy's come in, and for Graham Potter, who we all respect for the job he did at Brighton, taking him into the top 6 or thereabouts, keeping him in the league even on the budgets he was given, and the fact that they continue to sell players all the time, right up to the last couple of weeks. But it's a different job, isn't it? Going to Chelsea, huge expectations, a lot of players, big squad, and a mouthy owner who seems to think he knows how the game should be run, and also who should be in the team. That's going to be a big shock for everybody, isn't it? Not least Graham Potter, who's put his career on the line. He has got a 5-year contract, by the way, I tell you both, which is some comfort.
Yeah, he deserves a chance at a big club, Eamon.
Yeah.
But I'd pick another club instead of Chelsea for him at this particular time.
Yeah.
This American guy has really been a disgrace, and I think his treatment of Tuchel has been shocking.
Yeah.
Eamon.
Yeah.
I think Tuchel is a highly strung guy, Eamon. And I think from the start, this guy was on his back. And I think that's why he behaved the way he behaved in some of the situations he's been in, which Liam refers to there, which is right. I mean, at Leeds, he actually said at Leeds, where they got a hiding 3-0, we should have won that match. And then the thing with Conte was outrageous. But I think he's a highly strung guy, and I think this guy got into his head because he wanted to sign Ronaldo early on.
That's right. That was the issue. That was the issue with Tuchel, and Tuchel was right, obviously.
Of course he was right. But this guy, you see, these guys, as you know, I mean, the millionaire guy from American guy, they think they know more about football than anybody else, more about everything than anybody else. So they put Tuchel in a very, very difficult position because Tuchel's thing at the club is head coach, Eamon.
Yeah.
Right. Now, you know, this is very, very important. He's a head coach, which means the likes of this American guy is that, right, I'll get the players in, you coach them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very significant, his status in the club. Now, Potter has the same situation. He's head coach, he's not manager. So right from the start, I think they got into Tuchel's head, who's done a fantastic job at Chelsea. You know, he won the Champions League.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like he's done a terrific job. And this guy comes in, and I feel good for Potter because he deserves a big job. But I feel a bit sorry for him going into this particular situation.
Yeah.
If he's not allowed to do what needs to be done, it could be a disaster for him as well, Eamon.
Yeah.
But he's got a 5-year contract, as you say, and good luck to him. He deserves it. But I certainly wouldn't like to be working for this guy.
No, me neither. Unfortunately, we're not. Liam and John, thank you very much indeed for joining us today. We're grateful to Liam, John,